Alright, so you want to learn how to turn degrees into radians and the radians to degrees. So how do we do this? Well, let's start with realizing what a circle is. So a circle is 360 degrees, but it's also 2 pi in radians. And so what we can do is we can make this a little smaller. We can divide this by 2. And because we did this by 2, right, we divided by 2, we divide this by 2 as well, right? Not 2 as well. But let's cancel these out, and we get pi. And then let's divide 360 by 2, and we should get 180. Okay, so 180 is equivalent to pi. They're the same thing, the same value. So because we know this, we're able to solve these problems here. We can do the conversions. So the method that we're going to do is we're going to get whatever we're given. So let's say we're given 30 degrees, okay? 30 degrees. So what we do is we put the opposite on top, okay? So that would be pi, so the opposite value, right? So if we're given degrees, we put radians. So the radians at top, and then we put the degrees at the bottom. And now a quick way of remembering this is degrees in the bottom, and then radians at the bottom. And the reason why we do this is to cancel out the degrees here, right? So we're canceling the degrees out, right? And sometimes you're going to cancel the radians out. We're going to cancel pi. And so in this example, we're canceling the degrees, and then we can cancel a 0 in this case. And then we're left with 3 and 18. So 3 goes into 18 6 times. So let's put a 6 here, and then the numerator is left alone. So this would be pi over 6. And that should be the answer for what 30 degrees is. So 30 degrees is the same as pi over 6 in radians. And so if we're given radians, for example, so if we're given pi, right, what we can do is we multiply it by 1. But in this circumstance, we're given radians. So that means radians in the bottom. So we put pi here, and then on top, we can put 180. Okay. And then this should give us, let's see, what we can do in this case is we can get rid of pi on both sides, and then we're left with 180. So actually, pi is 180, and we kind of already figured that out here, right? Now, if you want more practice, we'll do a couple, right? I'll try to do all of these except the last 2. The last 2 are left for you. So let's start with the first one, 0. So we're given 0 in degrees. And what we do is we multiply degrees with the numerator or denominator being degrees. So given degrees, denominator degrees. And then on top, we put pi, and then we solve for this. And so you can put this in a calculator, but we know that anything times 0 is 0, so 0 would be the correct answer here. So 0 degrees is equivalent or is the same thing as 0 in radians. So now we can do the next one. So let's do the next one here. Pi divided by 4. So pi divided by 4, we multiply this, we're given radians, so that means radians is in the denominator. So the pi goes here, and then the 180 goes on top. And now, if we put this in a calculator, let's do that really quickly. Let's clear this, and then let's do this. So pi, let's do pi divided by 4. And I'm just going to show you how to enter this in a calculator. And I'll try doing this as much as I can, just to get the hang of it for others. Okay, whoops. This calculator is a bit finicky, but we'll try our best to manage. Okay, so we have these values here, and then we should get 45. So 45 goes here, and 45 degrees is the same thing as pi over 4. Now, let's do, this is the same with the rest of the questions, okay? So I'm going to erase these. and then let's do 90. So 90 degrees. So we're given 90 degrees. That means if we're given degrees, the denominator is degrees. So the 180 goes at the bottom, and then the pi goes at the top. Okay, so now this one is actually fairly easy. What we can do is we can divide both these already. We can get rid of this, we can get rid of this, and then we will be left with 2. 9 goes into 18 2 times. So 2, and then pi at the top. And so the answer to this is pi over 2. Now we're given one more in degrees. Okay, the next one's in degrees as well. So that means the degrees goes in the denominator. Okay, so 180 here, and pi at the top. And then we do the calculation on the calculator. So 135 times pi, so open bracket, pi divided by 180. Okay, and we get 3 pi over 4. So 3 pi over 4. Now, that's done. So, let's get rid of these, and let's do the next 3. And we'll call it. You guys can do the last 2. So, let's try doing it in one screen, okay? Because I feel like we can do these ones pretty fairly easily, at least this one. So we're starting with pi, right? So that means we're starting with radians, so the radians goes at the bottom. Now, we put the 180 at the top, and we should cancel these out because we had the same question up there, and we'll get 180, right? We can cancel them, make it easier for ourselves. So 180, so 180 degrees. Now, for the next one, we're given degrees. So degrees here, and then we multiply it with the denominator being degrees because it's degrees. So 180 here, and then pi at the top, and then we can do the math. So let's do it in a calculator, times, in brackets, pi divided by 180, and we get 5 pi over 4. I'm just going to double check this. Yep, 5 pi over 4. And that is the answer to this question here. Now the next one. So let's clear this one out. Let's clear these out. And now let's do the last one. So 3 pi. So 3 pi over 2. So this is in radians. So that means we got to put the radians at the bottom. So the pi goes here, and then the numerator has to be in degrees. Okay, remember, we're multiplying by 1. So this isn't easy to cancel out, so let's just do it in a calculator. Okay, let's do it in a calculator, and we're going to get 3 shift pi divided by 2. And oops, I forgot the brackets. So let's do the brackets really quickly. And then let's do brackets here, and 180 divided by pi. And we get 120 degree, or 270 degrees, sorry. 270 degrees. And this should be the end of this video, and that's the answer. So thank you for watching, and have a good one. Bye.